Hey everyone, this is Jeremy from Covenant Contracting, and I wanted to talk about blueprints a little bit, and more specifically, discrepancies found in blueprints. Anybody that's been building for any amount of time has found discrepancies in blueprints. In my experience, more often than not, almost every set of plans has discrepancies in it. And one example I'm going to show in this home, this is actually the log home that we've been working on, you've been seeing videos of. So sneak peek there, this is what the final design is going to look like. But I'm going to use this home as an example because this discrepancy just recently happened. And so it's fresh on my mind, and I wanted to pass that on to you guys. Whether you're a builder, a designer, draftsman, customers, estimators, and even those at lumber yards doing material takeoffs, etc., etc. So right here is the second page of this set of blueprints. You see the foundation plan here. This is the basement floor plan there. You go to the next page. We have the main floor framing that's on top of all of that, which we just completed the main floor framing on this home. And what I wanted to point out is if you look at this main floor framing plan, there's 4 glulam beams. There's one here, 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 and here. If you switch to this page and close-up shot of it, you can see the glulam beam here. It calls out for a 5 1/8 by 12 inch glulam beam. And scrolling back through, but you go back to the basement floor plan where I zoomed in on this one. It shows a pressure or a 2x6 stud wall as a structural wall. So that's the discrepancy. One page shows a glulam beam to support the main floor. Another page shows a structural 2x6 wall to support the main floor. And when the lumber yard that did the material takeoff or supplied the materials for the main floor framing, they supplied it as this here being a structural wall and not a glulam beam, when in fact the customer wanted the glulam beam and not a structural wall. In discussion with the customer, it wasn't a huge deal. I told them, well, we had the materials to do the structural wall there. There's going to be a wall there at some point anyways, so might as well just make it structural. It'll all be fine and we can move forward. And then they got on the phone with the designer and the engineer who said, no, that's not a good idea, and a valid point, because here's the foundation. There's no footing or nothing substantial underneath that structural wall to support the load. The only thing that would be underneath it is a 4-inch concrete slab, which should not be relied upon to hold the floor load of the main floor. So we had to order another glulam beam to put in this place, which set the project back about a day and a half to get it there. We were able to continue working on other things, but not in the order that we wanted to, as well as cost the customer a few $100 more in materials that they thought were already paid for and covered, etc., etc. This wasn't an overly huge deal, but it's pretty major, and it could have been a lot worse depending on your situation. Had the person doing the takeoff for the main floor had noticed that discrepancy, they would have shipped it out correctly or made the phone calls and found out which option they were supposed to be supplying materials for. So if you're ever in a position where you're doing an estimation, material takeoff, or you're a builder in the process of building a home, you need to go through and before you start framing a structural wall in this case, and then get to further into the plans and see, oops, it wasn't supposed to be a structural wall, and have to tear it out and redo it. All of these are potential problems that could arise. Make sure that you're double checking everything through the plans, making sure that the details match what the drawing shows. Contact the customer if there's a discrepancy or conflicting information. And before you move forward, make sure that you're building it the correct way with the glulam beam. In this case is where it was needed. And And the same thing for your material estimators or your people doing the takeoff. If that's not you, you also need to be looking for that information and making the proper phone calls to get it right. That's all I have for now, and hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it's helpful or helps somebody someday down the road. And enjoy, and God bless.